Shall we begin? So thank you everyone for coming today and braving this rather biblical weather. Very appropriate to our parish staff. Thank you so much. We have several guests today. Your family visiting us for the first time. Lovely to meet you. Thank you so much for coming. We have Sim came especially because I'm leading the service. I ran into him in the street and he said, "I'll come." Very grateful.
Angel first.
And we have a rabbi in the house. We have Rabbi Yuval Karen, who is very, very welcome. Me and him go way back to when we both worked at Hendon Reform, and now Yuval is Rabbi of Southgate Progressive, where I grew up. So we connect in many ways. It's really lovely to have you here. It's a sort of strange time for us because our rabbi has just retired, literally last Shabbat. That was our last service. So we're in the start of a period of transition. There'll be lots of guest leaders, service leaders, of which I am honoured to be the first, and we'll be experimenting really. We'll be trying all sorts of things. I think anything goes for the next few months. So I'll certainly be jumping in that sense. We'll do a couple of different things today, but I hope I haven't got as much much volume as I sometimes have by getting a bit coldy. So I do need your voices. So I implore you to sing with me, all the more so when I'm not playing the piano. So we are going to be reading Service 1, which can be found on page 105. 105. Please rise when you feel ready. אדוני, אחבתי בעון ביתך, ומקום משכן כבודך, ואני אשתחווה דאחיך, אברך לפני אדוני עושי, ואני תפילתי לך, אדוני, את רצון, אלוהים ברוב חסדך, ענני באמת ישעך. Please be seated. As we say the prayers of our ancestors, help us, O God, to remember their faith and devotion, their joy and suffering, and make us worthy of our heritage. May the tradition we've received live in us and pass from us generations we shall never know, enriched by the truth we have found and the good we have done. So may we fulfill our task on earth and receive our blessing. Eternal God, school us in your teachings and make us loyal to your commandments. May we never consent to evil or surrender to temptation or self-contempt. Help us to rise above selfishness and make us responsive to the voice of conscience. Direct our every impulse to your service. Today and every day, may we merit kindness and compassion in your sight, and in the sight of all who behold us. Let us know your love. We praise you, O God, for the love you daily show us. The foot of 106.
Kol mak shavot
אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, המוחלט בפי עמו, משובע ופרוע בשעון חסדיו ועבדיו. משפחות ובשמחות, לגדלך ולהניחך, מלכנו יחיד העולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, מלך מחולל בתשבחות. 108 in the middle. Ashrei Yoshvei Veitecha Od Yachalelucha Selah Ashrei Ham Shekachalo Ashrei She'Adonai Elohav.
Let's read responsively from the bottom of 108. Always I will exalt you, my sovereign God,
and praise your name forever.
beginning each day with praise.
I will extol your name forever.
Cause us to see your greatness is beyond us,
Eternal one, forever to be praised.
declaring your works to each generation.
We bear witness to your mighty acts.
Even as they speak of your splendor,
So I will meditate on your wonderful deeds.
as they tell of your awesome might.
So I will account your greatness.
Great is your goodness which they celebrate,
As they sing your righteousness,
holding us in your grace and compassion.
you are patient and abounding in love.
In your goodness, eternal God.
You have mercy on all your creatures,
Joyfully your works shall thank you,
and your faithful ones shall praise you.
knowing how great is your majesty.
They declare your might,
Let all humanity perceive your power.
and the glorious splendor of your redemption.
Mighty is your rule and everlasting.
The way endures to all generations.
O God, you support the falling,
Raise up all who are bowed down,
pleading all look and hope to you.
and you give them their food in due season.
Quietly you open your hand.
Satisfy the needs of every living creature.
Righteous are you in all your ways.
Dwell in all your peace.
So near are you to all who call upon you.
To all who call upon your
The
creatures.
desire of those who revere you, you fulfill.
You hear their cry and help them.
Unceasingly our lips shall sing God's praise.
May all creatures glorify your name forever.
ואנחנו נברך יה מעתה ועד עולם. Hallelujah. Please rise. ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו, האל המלך הגדול והקדוש, בשמיים ובארץ. הילחנה אל אדוני אלוהינו, אלוהי אבותינו, שיר ושפחה, הלל וזמרה, ברכות והודות, מעתה ועד עולם. ברוך אתה אדוני, הבוהה בשירי זמרה. And please turn to page 135, 135. Nine, 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 nine. Nine, 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 nine. Nine, 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 nine. Nine, 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 nine. Nine, 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 nine.
feel free to be seated. And we continue on the page, top of page 136. Let's read together in Hebrew. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzei or u'borei choshech, oseh shalom u'borei et hakol, המאיר לארץ ולנרים עליך ברחמים, ובטובו מחדש בכל יום תמיד מעשה בראשית. מה רבו מעשיך, אדוני, כולם בחוכמה עשית, מלח הארץ קנניך. תתברך אדוני אלוהינו על שבח מעשה ידיך ועל מורי אור שעשית, יברכך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני יוצא המורות.
Abba Chavtanu, Adonai Eloheinu, Henagad Vitera, Chamalta Aleinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Bavu Avotenu, Shevatu Vacha, Tlamdem Chukei Chayim. כן תחננו ותלמדנו ותן בליבנו אבינו ולהשכל לשמוע ללמוד ולמד לשמור ולעשות ולקיים את כל דברי תורה באהבה והעננו בתורתך ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך ויחד לבבנו לאהבה וליראה את שמך כי באנו בחרת לייחדך באהבה ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה. Feel free to rise for the Shema, or feel free to sit if you prefer. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מזבך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך ובשעתון לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. And please be seated. 138, second paragraph. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים אני אדוני Elohim. Let's read together in English. Good and beautiful and true.
Sound established and enduring in these words now and forever. Truly it is eternal knowledge, your last song, God and Redeemer, as you were God and Redeemer of our ancestors. You are our maker and the rock of our salvation.
We have known you always as our helper and our liberator. There is no God but you.
Truly you are first and you are last. We have no Redeemer but you. You redeemed us from Egypt and freed us from the house of bondage. Then with great joy Moses, Aaron, and all Israel together sang to you this song.
Michamocha ba'elim Adonai Mikamocha nedar b'kol Tehilot, Ose, Fele, Nora, Tehilot, Ose, Fele, Shira Chadasha, Shipchu Ga'ulim, L'Shimcha Asvat Chayam, Yachad Kulam, Hodu V'Kimlichu, Ve'amru, Adonai, Yimloch, Le'olam, Va'ed, Adonai, Yimloch, Le'olam, Va'ed. So Yisrael, Kuma Be'ezrat Yisrael, Ko'alenu Adonai Tzava'ot Shemo, Kadosh Yisrael, Baruch Atah Adonai, God Yisrael. We now turn to the Amidah, the standing prayer. So as the name suggests, please rise. We're on page 140. 140. You're going to please rise. Adonai Sefatai Tiftan Ufia Gitehilate Adonai Sefatai Tiftan Ufia Gitehilate Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu V'imotenu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rahel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor HaNorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Kolei HaKol, Zozeh Chasei Avot V'Imachot, Umevi Kula Libnei Bneihem, Aman Shemo B'Yahava, Melech Ozeh U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, V'chayim Etim V'tarav L'Hoshia, Mashiv HaRuach U'Merit HaGeshem, Mazriach HaShemesh U'Marit HaTar, Machakel Chayim B'Chesed, Machayim Eitim B'Rachamim Rabim, Tzomech Noflim B'Rofeh Olim, U'Matir Asurim, U'Mekayim Emunato B'Shenei Afar, Michamocha B'al Gevurot, Umido Melach, Melech Memit U'Machayeh, U'Matzviah Yeshua, V'ne'emanata l'chayot metim, Baruch Atah Adonai, V'chayei ha'metim. Yai da 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 da, yai da 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 da. Kadosh, Kadosh, Adonai Tzavaot, Meloch ol haaretz, Kevodo Aliyah, v'timloch aleinu, Hakim אנחנו לך, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גדלך, לדור ודור, לדור נגיד גדלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גדלך, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גדלך. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש, ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please feel free to sit down if you'd like to. The foot of page 142. You inspired our ancestors to hallow this day for your service. When upon its coming we pause to contemplate our life, we learn anew that we do not live by bread alone, but also by the spiritual nourishment we receive when we open ourselves to your influence. We thank you for the Sabbath day and for the opportunity it offers to enhance the quality of our lives. We thank you for its joy and for its peace. May our worship help us to take into our hearts this message of holiness and consecrate all our days by devotion to what is true, beautiful and good.
ישמחו במלכותך, ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי שבת וקוראי עונג, המקדשי שביעי, המקדשי שביעי, כולם ישמחו ויתענגו מטובך, להשביעי עשית בו וקידשתו, להשביעי עשית בו וקידשתו, חמדת ימים אותו קראת, זכר למעשה וראשית.
To read in Hebrew together with the foot of 143. Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu, v'aseh nuchatenu, kadshenu b'mitzvotecha, v'ten chalkeinu b'toratecha, sabenu mituvecha, v'samachenu b'shuatecha, v'taher libeinu la'avdecha be'emet, v'chanchilenu Adonai Eloheinu, v'havav v'ratzon shabbat kodshecha, v'yinuku v'Yisrael, Baruch atah Adonai, Makadesh HaShabbat. And on page 144, if we read in English, and then we'll read the Chatimot, the blessing in Hebrew. Eternal God, be gracious to your people Israel.
And you will not accept their prayers. Their worship now will wait to accept in your sight. Praise
Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levatecha, v'yira na'avot. We give thanks that you, Eternal One, are our God.
as you are the God of our ancestors. You are the Lord of life, the God who shields us in every age. We thank and praise you for our lives and for your hand, and for our souls which are in your keeping, for the signs of your presence we encounter every day, and for your wondrous gifts that hold us morning, noon, and night.
Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lechodot. Sim, sim, sim shalom tova uvracha. Sim, sim, sim shalom tova uvracha. Ein b'chesed barachamim, amim, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael.
בשלומך. שים, שים, שים שלום, שים שלום טובה וברכה. שים, שים, שים שלום, טובה וברכה. בחיינו אבינו כולנו כאחד באור פניך, כי באור פניך נתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו. שים, שים, שים שלום, שים שלום טובה וברכה. שים, שים, שים שלום, טובה וברכה. תורת חיים ואהבת חסד וצדקה וברכה, ברחמים וחיים ושלום. שים, שים, שים שלום, שים שלום טובה וברכה. שים, שים, שים שלום, טובה וברכה. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל ואת כל העמים בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שים, שים, שים שלום, שים שלום טובה וברכה. שים, שים, שים שלום, טובה וברכה. ברוך אתה אדוני עושה השלום.
Let's have a few moments of silence.
Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Yaakov Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Yaakov Yisrael.
We're going to read a little bit of a theme. We don't always do this in this community. Rabbi Frank intended not to, some service leaders do. And what's nice about it is A, it goes a little bit deeper into the Torah portion, and B, it just adds a bit of a variety to it, so it's different. It's a different theme each week, and it's a unique contribution of the liberal siddur. Other movements don't have it. It's a nice thing. So we won't do all of it, but we'll do a little bit. So the theme is conservation, and it's on page 165, and it also covers the bit we're not reading from the Torah. So I'm not reading the most famous bit, but I'm still reading a famous bit, don't worry. You know, not the number 1 hit, maybe the number 2 or 3. So we're on 165, and we'll read responsively in English. All about Noah. God spoke to Noah and his sons with him. Behold, I establish my covenant with you and your descendants after you, and with every living creature that is with you, birds, cattle, and all wildlife, as many as came out of the ark.
And God said, this is the sign of covenant I make between me and you, every living creature which is with you, all future generations.
When I bring clouds over the earth and the rainbow is seen in the clouds, I will remember my covenant, and the waters shall never again become a flood to destroy all flesh.
As long as the earth endures, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, sun and winter, day and night shall not cease.
The days of summer are gone. Yeah. The rainy season is here, definitely. Its showers will gather, then pour themselves more and more upon the earth. Grain, wine, and oil will flourish quickly. The clouds will send down rain and urge the earth to bring forth grass. Seeds and buds will grow in beauty. Voices of thunder will herald.
Those who 7 years shall reap with songs of joy.
The covenant God made with Noah is not, we now realise, an unconditional promise. Human beings have their part to play. Not only may they have to sow in tears, they may reap in joy, but they must exercise restraint and live in harmony with nature, so as to conserve its bounty and variety for future generations. They too may reap in joy. After creating Adam, God took him round all the trees of the Garden of Eden and said to him,
See how lovely and excellent my works are. I have created them all for you. Take care not to spoil and destroy my world. For if you spoil it, there will be no one to repair it after you.
The raven made a telling point when it said to Noah, You must hate me, for you did not send a scout from the species of birds of which there are 7 pairs in the ark, but from a species of which there is only 1 pair. If the power of the sun or of the cold had overwhelmed me, would not the world be missing a species? Great text that. I want to check the footnotes afterwards to know the source. Well, one of the gifts of this Siddur is the footnote section. I recommend it to you. On Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, if I was slightly late with the musical cue, it was usually because I was checking the footnotes. That's my excuse. We'll just skip a bit forward.
Sanhedrin, Baba.
Talmud, right.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I thought someone would say that. We would check what I was talking. And if we just skip to the end on 168, and if we just read the italic section at the bottom, one glorious chain. On one glorious chain of love, of giving and receiving, unites all creatures. None is by or for itself. All things exist in continual reciprocal activity.
One for all and all for one.
Eli, Eli, shelo yegamel leolam, hachol v'hayam, rishru shamayim, barak hashamayim, tefilat Adam, v'chol v'hayam, rishru shamayim, barak hashamayim, tefilat Adam.
We will now turn to our Torah service. And in the spirit of experimentation, I'm going to do the Torah service on page 490, which is for Sabbath morning or afternoon or weekdays. We don't normally do it, but it is just as nice, I promise you. I'm sure you've done it sometimes. Not for a while. So, on page 490, assemble the people, men, women and children, and the strangers in your cities, to hear and learn to revere the Eternal One your God, and observe faithfully all the precepts of this Torah. And let their children who do not yet know it hear, that they too may learn to revere the Eternal One your God. Please rise. V'chaynenu b'toratecha, v'dabek libeinu b'mitzvotecha, v'yachel levaveinu le'achava u'lira et shemecha. Please be seated. The Torah is sitting down. You can sit down. Going to the rules. Thank you very much, Yuval. So we are in Parashat Noah, the second parasha of the year. So we're in the early and greatest hit section of the Torah. There's so much richness, so many stories, so much mythology. And as I said, we're not actually going to read the section about the flood today, wonderful though it is. But in the interest of not reading the same section of the Torah each year, I'm choosing the third section from the Liberal Judaism recommended lectionary. So we're going to be reading about the Tower of Babel, also another great story. So if you've got Sonsino Chumash, it's on page 51. It's Genesis 11, chapter 11, verses 1 to 9. If you've got another Chumash, I don't know where it is. you might have to. Now, could I have someone like to do an aliyah and say the Torah blessing? I would like someone to do an aliyah and do the Torah blessing. Thank you. What's your Hebrew name? Yamod, Chaim, Yonah, Ben Shmuel, Katan Torah. Lost it now.
Baruch Adonai Hamavarach.
Baruch le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamavarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher b'chabanu b'kol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And it came to pass, as they journeyed east, they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, "Come, let us make brick and burn them thoroughly." And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said, "Come, let us build us a city and a tower with its top in heaven. Let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth." And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men builded. And the Lord said, "Behold, they are one people, and they have all one language, and this is what they begin to do. And now nothing will be withholden from them, which they purpose to do. Come, let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech." So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth. Therefore was the name of it called Babel, or Babel, because the Lord did there confound the language of all the earth, and from thence did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth. It's a very condensed story, but it's got a lot there. ויהי כל הארץ שפת אחת ודברים אחדים ויהי בנשאם מקדם וימצאו בקר בארץ שינה וישבו שם ויאמרו איש אל רעהו הבה נלבנה לבנים נשרפה לשרפה ותהי להם הלבנה לאבן והמה היה להם לחומר ויאמרו הבה נבנה לנו עיר ומגדל וראשו בשמיים ונעשה לנו שם הן נפוץ על אדוני לראות את העיר ואת המגדל אשר בנו בני האדם ויאמר אדוני הן עם אחד ושפת אחת לכולם וזה החילם לעשות ואתה לא יבצע מהם כל אשר יזמו לעשות הווה נרדה ונבלה שם שפתם אשר לא ישמעו איש שפת רעהו יפץ אדוני אותם משם על פני כל הארץ ויחדלו לבנות העיר על כן קרא שמה בבל כי שם בלל אדוני שפת כל הארץ ומשם הפיצם אדוני על פני כל הארץ.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת, וחיי עולם נשא בזכינו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. Yeah. You winning?
רוממו אדוני אלוהינו ותשתחוו לך קודשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו ותשתחוו לך קודשו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו.
Time of year because they're all on one side.
Luckily, I'm left-handed.
Ah, that's very lucky. Please be seated.
We continue with the Haftorah blessings on page 492. And the Haftorah reading for this Shabbat is from Jeremiah, chapter 31, verses 23 to 36, which you will find in the JPSA on page 836. The JPSA 836. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher בחר בנביאים טובים, ורצה בדבריהם הנאמרים באמת. ברוך אתה אדוני, הבוחר בתורה, ובמשה עבדו, ובישראל עמו, ובנביאי האמת והצדק. Thus said the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, they shall again say, this is the land of Judah, and in its towns when I restore their fortunes. The Lord bless you, abode of righteousness, O holy mountain. Judah and all its towns alike shall be inhabited by the farmers, and such as move about with flocks. For I will give the thirsty abundant drink, and satisfy all who languish. At this I awoke, and looked about, and my sleep had been pleasant to me. See, a time is coming, declares the Lord, when I will sow the house of Israel and the house of Judah with seed of men and seed of cattle. And just as I was watchful over them to uproot and to pull down, to overthrow and to destroy, and to bring disaster, so I will be watchful over them to build and to plant, declares the Lord. In those days they shall no longer say, parents have eaten sour grapes and children's teeth are blunted, but everyone shall die for his own sins. Whosoever eats sour grapes, his teeth shall be blunted. See, a time is coming, declares the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and the house of Judah. It will not be like the covenant I made with their fathers, when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, a covenant which they broke, though I was Lord over them, declares the Lord. But such is the covenant I will make with the house of Israel after these days, declares the Lord. I will put my teaching into their inmost being, and inscribe it upon their hearts. Then I will be their Lord, and they shall be my people. No longer will they need to teach one another and say to one another, heed the Lord, for all of them, from the least of them to the greatest, shall heed me, declares the Lord. For I will forgive their iniquities, and remember their sin no more. Thus said the Lord, who established the sun for light by day, the laws of moon and stars for light by night, who stirs up the sea into roaring waves, whose name is the Lord of hosts. If these laws should ever be annulled by me, declares the Lord, only then would the Will the offspring of Israel cease to be a nation before me for all time? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, tzur kol haolamim, tzadik v'chol hadorot, ha'el ha'ne'eman ha'omer v'oseh, ha'medaber u'mekayem, shekol devarav emet v'tzedek, al ha'torah, v'al ha'avodah, v'al ha'nvi'im, v'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh שנתת לנו Adonai Eloheinu, לקדושה ולמנוחה, לכבוד ולתפארת. על הכל אדוני אלוהינו אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך. יתברך שמך בדין כל חי, תמיד לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת.
Beautiful reading, beautifully read, thank you. So we continue with the prayers for the community and for the country. So we're on page 493. So if we can please stand, and our custom is to have members of the community read some of these prayers. So can I have a volunteer to read the prayer for the royal family and for the country?
Yes.
Ali.
Eternal God, whose dominion embraces the universe, we ask your blessing for our Sovereign Lady Queen Elizabeth and all the royal family, for those who govern our country and all who influence the quality of its national life. Make them conscious of their responsibility and teach them to exercise it in accordance with your will. May we all help to fashion in this country a society that excels in freedom and justice, tolerance and compassion, so that it may be a force for righteousness and peace in the life of humanity.
Thank you. And somebody to read the prayer for the community. It's slightly different, this one. Somebody?
I will. May the one who blessed our ancestors bless all our brothers and sisters of the house of Israel, who enter synagogues to pray and to give aid to those in need. May the Holy One, to whom all praise is due, hear their prayers and help them to fulfill their aspirations for good.
And here we pray for healing. Any of my community who is ill, I know particularly thinking of Karen Brown at the moment, and wishing her as much comfort as is possible. And anybody else that anyone would like to mention in need of healing?
And my cousin Nikki and her husband Mel and Vivian Macro.
Thank you. Thank you. And somebody to read the prayer for Israel on Gibson.
Eternal God, our rock and redeemer, grant blessing to the state of Israel, created to fulfill an age-old dream and to be a haven for the oppressed. Inspire its leaders and citizens with faithfulness to the aims of its founders, to develop the land for the benefit of all its inhabitants, and to implement the prophetic ideas of liberty and justice. May they live in harmony with one another and in peace with their neighbors, and cause to come true once more the ancient vision, that out of Zion shall go forth Torah and the word of God from Jerusalem.
Ya Hallelujah, Shem Adonai, ki nizkar shemo l'Ado. Hodo al eretz v'shamayim, v'yarem keren yamor, tefila l'cho hasidah, ibnei Yisrael, am gerobor. Hallelujah.
Go to the next page, 495.
Seushavim Roshechem, Mehinasau Pitkei Olam, Vayavor Melech HaKavod, Mibuze Melech HaKavod, Mibuze Melech HaKavod, Adonai Sabaoth, Hu Melech HaKavod, Selah.
Let's read together on top of 496. This is the covenant I will make with the house of Israel in time to come,
Says the Eternal One.
I will put my teaching within them and engrave it on their hearts. I will be their God, and they shall be my people. No longer shall anyone need to teach a friend or a neighbour to know me, for they all shall know me, young and old alike. Hashimeinu Adonai Elecha v'nashua Chadesh Yameinu Yaketem Chadesh Yameinu Yaketem. Thank you very much, everyone. Please be seated. Remember the 5th of November, gunpowder treason and plot. I see no reason why gunpowder treason should ever be forgot. I learned this rhyme as a child, as I imagine many of you did. It's part of the canon of famous English rhymes, along with Jack and Jill, Humpty Dumpty, and the Grand Old Duke of York. I'm talking about it today because Bonfire Night is in 3 days' time, and in the words of the old joke, I want to think about Bonfire Night and the Jewish question. My first thought is that the rhyme's repeated exhortation to remember is reminiscent of the Torah's commandment of Zachor. We are told to remember that we were once slaves in the land of Egypt, and that God liberated us. More relevant here is the commandment to remember what Amalek did to us, attack the Israelites in the wilderness. Remember, so each year we can blot out Amalek's name. We have a Shabbat dedicated to remembering the great enemy of the Jews, Shabbat Zachor, Shabbat of remembrance. Communities, whether they Jewish community or the British community, are not inevitable and eternal. They are constantly being constructed in many ways through shared language, space, rituals, shared media. And one of the strongest ways a community constructs itself and maintains itself is by focusing on outside enemies. If there is someone outside the collective who we believe, rightly or wrongly, wants to destroy us, the collective feels stronger, more tightly bound together. And when that threat is past, we use the memory of it to maintain those bonds. And this is, I think, relevant to Bonfire Night. The gunpowder plot of 1605 didn't come out of thin air. It comes after a tumultuous 16th century English Reformation in which England went, in the space of about a century, from being a formerly Catholic country to one where Catholicism became illegal and Catholics were persecuted. The monasteries expanded, in mass was abolished, church statues were destroyed, it became compulsory to attend Church of England services and treasonous to attend Latin Mass. A significant number of Catholics were executed, apparently more than anywhere else in Europe, which is quite remarkable at the time. Catholics had hoped for greater religious tolerance under King James I, who was crowned in 1603, but these hopes were dashed. So the plot to blow up Parliament during its state opening, and therefore killing all the top layer of monarchy and the government, was hatched, and the plan was to put James's 9-year-old daughter on the throne as a Catholic monarch. But, as we know, the plot was foiled, the perpetrators were tortured and executed, and further anti-Catholic legislation was implemented in its wake. That year, Parliament passed an act making the 5th of November a day of deliverance, mandating the ringing of church bells for a public holiday. The tradition of lighting bonfires began along with the tradition of burning effigies of the Pope, something which continues in Lewis to this day. It's kind of an extraordinary thing. A later, lesser known section of the verse I began with continues: a rope to hang the Pope, a pennorth of cheese to choke him, a pint of beer to wash it down, and a jolly good fire to burn him. That bit's less well known. Bonfire Night became a national ritual, an important piece of pageantry in the creation and maintenance of England as an English Protestant state. To be English now meant to belong to the Church of England, to speak English, not any other language, to have loyalty only to the English state, not to any international body. most people forgot about the strong anti-Catholic element, and in the Victorian era, Bonfire Night was renamed Guy Fawkes Night to put the blame on one individual rather than the entire religion. So it was a bit of a PR job in the 19th century. Well, has any of this got to do with the Jews? Very little. So it's strange that Jews, most of us anyway, take part in Bonfire Night events. Jews weren't legally living in Britain at the time. We weren't allowed back into England for another 50 years in 1656. So why do we participate in celebrating the establishment of a homogenous Protestant state who would probably rather we weren't here? It's not as if a state which banned Jews for 400 years is going to be exactly philo-Semitic. So why have British Jews been so loyal to the state? I think the answer lies in the Victorian era, when both Catholics and Jews became emancipated within a few decades, and the British state tamed itself a little, assimilating a few minorities at home, the better to maintain the empire abroad. Jews, or at least wealthy Jews like Lionel de Rothschild, gained the right to enter most professions and became MPs, no longer having to recite the Christian oath in the House of Commons. The Anglo-Jewish elite came to see the state as benevolent and believed that they could cease to be Jews and instead becoming ladies and gentlemen of the Mosaic persuasion. Celebrating Bonfire Night became one of those things that Jews just did in order to identify themselves as English, along with playing cricket and making Victoria sponge cakes. But despite all this, the England of the Protestant post-Reformation settlement still sought to be as homogeneous as possible and required minorities to fit in rather than to change its core nature. Bonfire Night had its anti-Catholic edges toned down, but it never went away. The ceremony, the pageantry continues. And here I think we can make a connection with our Torah reading. The story of the Tower of Babel is a story of a homogeneous society, one that only speaks one language. There's no diversity. And because of its homogeneity, its lack of pluralism, it becomes hubristic. It seeks total domination and tries to build a tower that will reach the heavens, a bit like the Shard, perhaps. And rabbinic legends suggest that the people mourned every brick they dropped while building it. They didn't care about the workers that died in the process. God thwarts their plans by making them speak different languages. This is often read as a punishment, but I think it's another way of seeing it is God rejecting monoculture in favour of pluralism and diversity in the post-flood world. Jonathan Sachs reads it this way in his book, The Dignity of Difference. The Babel story promotes societies of different languages and cultures living side by side without one dominating the other and without minorities having to assimilate into the culture of the majority. Now don't worry, I'm not going to be the Grinch who ruined Guy Fawkes Night. I love fireworks and I'm going to a public display with my daughter if she can stay up long enough. I particularly like the way in Harrow it becomes a celebration of Diwali as well, so minority and majority cultures are fused. But let's approach it critically and reject its brutal sectarian history, and let's stand up for multiculturalism, not just in token ways, but in the deeper sense that Britain should not prioritise any one culture, but belong equally to all the cultures that reside here. And let's stop worrying about our fitting in and proving how English we are. I think we may have done that already. We can afford to stand out and enjoy our difference alongside the difference of other minorities. Let's transform the state rather than have the state transform us. Diversity is good for the Jews. That's my thoughts on a very modular event. Okay, we will continue and conclude our service with the Aleinu, and we'll find that on page 520. 520. So if you don't mind rising one more time. Aleinu l'shavech l'hadon hakol, לתת גדולה יוצא בראשית, אשר שם חלקנו לאחד את שמו, וגור עלינו להמליך מלכותו, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ,
Moshav Yetaro B'Shamayim B'Ma'al Ushchina Tuzo V'gov Heim L'Romim Hu Eloheinu Einot Emet V'Keinu Efezulato Takatu V'Torato Yadata Hayom V'Hashevota Elavavecha Ki Adonai Hu Elohim V'Shamayim Mima'al Ve'al ha'aretz Mitachat Elon. Let's read together on page 521. Trusting in you, eternal God, we hope soon to behold the glory of your might.
When false gods will vanish from our hearts, and idolatry cease forever. Help us to make the world by bringing unto you and shine true. When all who invoke your name, we wish evil and turn to you alone. May all who dwell on earth come to know that to you every knee must bend and every tongue swear loyalty. Before you let them humble themselves, and to your glorious name let them give honor. Let all submit to your sovereign rule. May that time come soon and last forever. For ultimate sovereignty is yours,
and to all eternity you will reign in glory.
as it is written, eternal one shall be forever.
V'nema v'haya Adonai v'melech al kol haaretz Bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad U'shamo
Give us life in which joys and sorrows are commingled in accordance with your wisdom, and you send death with the promise of eternal peace. Teach us to accept humbly and courageously whatever burden is laid upon us. Comfort those who mourn and let the light of faith illumine the darkness of their sorrow with the hope of immortality. Strengthen us at all times with unfailing trust in your providence. And we think today of those that have yachts this time. Rose Barnett, mother of Bernard Barnett, Philip Barnett, father of Bernard Barnett, and Josephine Prager, aunt of Bernard Barnett. Are there any other names people would like to mention, loved ones that... Well, we think of all those in every corner of the world that have died recently without anyone to remember them. Give them a little of our remembrance, and we will say the Kaddish together on page 524. Yikadal v'yikadash shemen rabah, olmad yivrach kirotei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chai echod v'yom echod, v'chagei tekol beit Yisrael, v'olav zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shemei rabah v'rach le'olam v'lamei amaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach, yitba'ah v'yifamam v'yitnaseh, Yitzhada v'yitaleh v'yithalal shmei kulisha b'richu Le'elam v'kol b'kata v'shirata Tushbachata v'nechamata Amira v'alma v'imru amen Yehei shalom rabbanin shemaya V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael Imru amen Oseh shalom b'brama Hu yaseh shalom Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael V'al kol b'nei adam V'imru amen. Please be seated. I suspect that we're earlier than our friends downstairs, so there may be a bit of time before the Kiddush. You can chill, you can chat, or you could
Sing some more songs.
we could sing more songs.
Joseph, may I just point out that due to some lack of communication, we also have a Kiddush.
No, it's been taken away.
It's been taken away. Okay. There was one earlier in the library which has now disappeared, so we can go and join everybody else.
Jolly good. I think we'll. Do you want to do announcements, or do you want to do? Did anyone do announcements, or should I do announcements?
Hepzibah had some announcements.
Okay, well, tell you what. She's got an announcement there to check. We'll sing Ein Kol Lahenu,
Yeah.
and then we'll have any announcements. So 5 to 8.
Ein Eloheinu, ein Adonai. del Eloheinu, no del Adonenu, no del Magenu, no del Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Magenu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Magenu, Atahu Moshienu.
Announcements, Hepzibah?
Well, we'd just love to thank you, Joseph, for such a lovely service today.
Yeah.
With the singing and the variety and the changes, it's been absolutely wonderful. And also we'd like to thank our guests for coming to share and to fellowship with us today. We've really appreciated your presence, so thank you. Hope to see you again. And just for next week's Friday service will be held at the Zatzit's home. If you'd like the details, please contact Kevin, or you could speak to
Just ask now.
or you can ask now if you'd like. And also next week's service will be held by the Solomons. They'll be leading the service, so we look forward to that. Once again, thank you very much, Joseph. And as for downstairs, they're about 10 minutes behind in terms of finishing off. So if you'd like to stay for the Kiddush, it will be in about 10 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Welcome.
And next Shabbat morning, the service is being led by Alan and Janet.
Correct, with I think with Pam Watson leading the scroll, and Rosemary is doing.
Rosemary, a crack team.
Wow.
Do not miss it. That's going to be excellent. Lovely. And then on Friday, Saturday the 16th, Danny Rich will be leading the service. I'll say a final blessing, and then we will conclude. So if you want to rise for that, Eloheinu v'Elokei Avotenu v'Imotenu, v'Achenu b'vracha ha'mishuleshet ha'kruva b'Torah, v'Yivarechecha Adonai v'Yishmerecha, Ye'eh Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God bless you and keep you. May look good at us. May God bless us and keep us. May God look kindly upon us and be gracious to us. May God reach out to us in tenderness and give us peace. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat
Did you come to several times?
And I remember the first time I received sheep service.
Yeah.
There's something there. The forms, the same keywords, everything is just. Season is because I want to know maybe next time when it's saying I want to
That's okay by chance. I thought because I'm Southgate. I think even though I'm so
Yeah.
It's just a couple of days off after, not a couple of days, a couple of weeks off after the high weather.
Give us time to catch your breath. I think every rabbi
Much appreciated.
when Frank was with us, he's retiring early, he's taking a bit of early retirement.
I've heard that he's going to. I didn't realise he was.
The last service was last Sabbath, my goodness, that was
I'm sorry, I couldn't come last. I didn't know. Once I negotiated through security because they didn't want to say, "Would you know anybody here?" I said, "Well, I know the rabbi. He was one. He's showing this." I said, "Anybody else?"
They are being so Frank will be continuing to teach us books that he's writing, traveling.
Right. Primitive, it was early days, I guess.
Academic field.
And they use a sort of.
So,
How are you?
Yes, thank you so much for having us.
I am so
Ego.
you won't remember me, I remember you very well. You led the funeral service in my day. The actress. Yes. Such a good time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was a,
We had such a good time. We came along to the
It's a Babylon. It's also a yeah, but I'm sure it's a tale about Babylon as well, and they're kind of talking about Babylonian society. It's multi-language. I'm sure that was part of it.
But they didn't stop to use
No. Yeah, of course.
I got to know the daughter first, you know.
No, I in the same place.
I funeral director and his family.
Thank you very much for your
Reading this very excellent.
Well, I chose it. It was the best of the three. Oh, I think it was nice, yeah.
Hi, John.
This is for Adrian.
Yes. Yes.
Look at there.
Anyway, welcome anytime.
Thank you very much. Recoverable.
Oh yes, thank God. It could have been far worse. It's just a long process. So, are you surviving now? Or the day off?
My daughter's mum's family is Catholic, and she was her first. She said like she always thought. And I knew, but like yes, I mean I know.
So I spent some time with them. So that's just a couple of weeks.
Well, lovely to see you, and you come again when you've got a husband's holiday.
Association for Mosaic liberal reform and resorting. Downstairs and resorting elsewhere, although the idea is we can get planning permission that all of them will just have money about that. In fact, there's something about that in this in the November magazine. I'll give you one now when we go downstairs. But they aren't
10% minority is like. This was yours. Which school was it? Was it? You hear about this kind of thing. I don't know how much it's been. I was aware that it was a thing.
Next week is
That's all I'm saying.
That's all right. That's the name I know. It's easy. Easy to know.
Yeah.
It's she's 2 years.
No, she's got 30 months. Yeah. No, I think she was like less. She was like, we did it, well, she was born then, but the blessing was like 4 or 5 months. Like,
Yeah, I know, but not.
Yes.
She was born.
Yes.
I thought my money was 2 years ago.
Yeah. No, she's not that big.
She started walking.
No, she crawls, she stands, she says many words, but not like ball, cat, balloon, these are like things she says. Yeah, it's been really hard, but it's not better now. The first 6 months we found like really hard.
You've been around for 3-4 months.
Living here? Yeah, June, yeah. We moved in June. So it's just
Well, that's almost
Let's
that's one.
be good at Istanbul.
How's Janet?
Let's continue when the synagogue relocates to Istanbul.
That's not for another.
It's not happening yet. It hasn't got planning commission yet. So.
I think I had a hair done this morning.
I certainly.
You've got your shelves up.
We're trying to do
The kitchen ones, yes. So Janet was able to put my kitchen
yes,
and the carpenter, same chap,
I'm going to be
came round on Monday night and is drawing up a plan for us for
So, like,
study.
Yeah, normally I have the other weeks on the keyboard and I have stage. So it's more classic overall in the past, in terms of Frankie was than I made it today. I'm trying to get it. It's in France. Yeah.
So I have no idea what it's very interesting because I'm very aware as we take this road out.
Yeah.
The synagogues think that the ritual around the ark was given to Moses at Sinai. And they don't realize it's
Okay.
Yes.
So I think to myself, what I'm going to do is that it will be out of the
Lovely to meet you. Pleasure on.
It was wonderful.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, I didn't make it very child friendly. I should have connected you.
She said that I'm really fond of Joseph. He's very nice.
Oh, you're very nice too.
She wants to come to the Sunday religious school, so, but I'm sure they should check it just inform us how to apply.
I'll come downstairs in a minute and try and work out. Maybe Hannah knows who the person to talk to is. Read Hamakom.
I think really the best thing is
Am I going to go there?
yes.
I'll introduce in a minute. I'll introduce you to the rabbi downstairs,
She will be able to.
and she'll connect you.
I just got two.
Are there any chapters of B'nai Akiva and B'nai Brit or like that?
There may in Harrow. I don't know.
No.
There certainly are in other areas.
My wife wants to be enrolled in the Brit and my daughter in Akiva.
Yeah. Do you have a history with B'nai Akiva?
Yes.
Yeah, you grew up in it.
Yeah.
There will be certainly towards like Stanmore and Edgware. I'm sure there are. I don't know.
Okay, fine.
You have to contact them.
Yeah, fine.
We don't have a connection. But if you, we'll go downstairs now and
Yeah, of course.
I'll just. Well, let's see how far along they are.
And then
But so there's like basically two communities in one. The downstairs. Different routes for reform. Resources is on a different site.
And this one as well.
They're going to
Okay, so I'll do these ones after the...
but they're put in either alphabetical order or the order of the weeks.
Of the
that they go,
weeks.
when you put the one you've just used at the back.
Yes.
Well done, Pepsi, but honestly, considering the lack of people who can do things, you're a treasure.
Oh, yes, thank you.
I know you got hijacked into it a bit, but nevertheless.
Haftorah, it's saying that it's Amos next week.
Oh, is it?
That's what it says on here.
Okay, well, Amos will be near the front. Those are in alphabetical order, otherwise we couldn't do it otherwise.
And Noach.
Noach goes at the back of the Torah readings, and then Elohim will be in alphabetical order.
Right.
Okay, I'll see you downstairs.
Yeah, I think I'll do that after because
Yeah.
I'll be late.
Yeah, many thanks.
That's okay, I'll do that afterwards. Oh, it's the menopause. I get